proper location for an emergency disconnect switch for a gas-fired hot air furnace located in the attic of a single-family, one-floor dwelling, accessible only by a scuttle opening in the ceiling in the laundry room, is adjacent to the scuttle opening in the laundry room. This placement ensures quick and easy access to the disconnect switch in case of an emergency, allowing for the immediate shut-off of power to the furnace. Emergency disconnect switches are critical safety components in heating and cooling systems, providing a means to quickly de-energize the equipment during maintenance, repair, or in the event of a malfunction. Their placement is governed by electrical codes and standards to ensure accessibility and visibility. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides specific guidelines for the location and installation of these disconnect switches. The primary goal of these codes is to protect individuals from electrical hazards and to prevent property damage. The NEC addresses the requirements for disconnect switches in Article 422.31. This section details the requirements for disconnecting means for appliances, including furnaces. It specifies that the disconnecting means must be readily accessible and located within sight of the appliance. However, there are exceptions to the within sight requirement, especially in situations where the appliance is not easily accessible, such as in an attic. The NEC recognizes the challenges of placing a disconnect switch within sight of an appliance located in an attic or other difficult-to-reach location. In such cases, the code allows for the disconnect switch to be placed at a readily accessible location, typically at the point of access to the appliance. This ensures that service personnel can quickly and safely de-energize the equipment before entering the attic or beginning any work. In the scenario described, the scuttle opening in the laundry room serves as the primary access point to the attic where the furnace is located. Therefore, the most appropriate and code-compliant location for the emergency disconnect switch is adjacent to the scuttle opening. This placement allows anyone entering the attic to immediately disconnect power to the furnace, mitigating the risk of electrical shock or other hazards. The disconnect switch should be clearly labeled to indicate its purpose. A permanent and legible label should be affixed to the switch, stating furnace disconnect or similar wording. This ensures that anyone who needs to use the switch can quickly identify it and understand its function. The disconnect switch itself must be appropriately rated for the voltage and current requirements of the furnace. The switch should have an amperage rating that is equal to or greater than the branch circuit over current protection. This ensures that the switch can safely interrupt the flow of current to the furnace without overheating or failing. The installation of the disconnect switch must comply with all applicable electrical codes and standards. A qualified electrician should perform the installation to ensure that it is done safely and correctly. The electrician will verify that the switch is properly grounded, that all connections are tight and secure, and that the installation meets all NEC requirements. The placement of the disconnect switch adjacent to the scuttle opening also facilitates routine maintenance and inspections of the furnace. Service technicians can easily disconnect power to the furnace before beginning any work, reducing the risk of electrical hazards. Regular inspections of the disconnect switch itself are also important. The switch should be checked to ensure that it is functioning properly and that there are no signs of damage or corrosion. If any problems are found, this switch should be replaced immediately. In addition to the emergency disconnect switch, it is also important to have a dedicated circuit breaker for the furnace at the main electrical panel. This provides an additional layer of protection and allows for the entire circuit to be de-energized if necessary. The circuit breaker should be clearly labeled to indicate that it controls the furnace circuit. Proper labeling of electrical components is essential for safety and can prevent accidental disconnection of other important circuits. The selection of the appropriate disconnect switch is also crucial. Disconnect switches are available in various types and sizes, and it is important to choose one that is suitable for the specific application. Factors to consider include the voltage and current rating, the enclosure type, and the method of operation. For a residential furnace application, a simple non-fused disconnect switch is typically sufficient. This type of switch provides a reliable means of disconnecting power to the furnace without the need for fuses. The enclosure type should be appropriate for the environment in which the switch is installed. If the switch is located in a damp or dusty environment, an NEMA 3R or NEMA 4 enclosure should be used to protect the switch from the elements. The method of operation should also be considered. Disconnect switches are available with various operating mechanisms such as toggle handles, rotary handles, and pull-out handles. The choice of operating mechanism depends on the user's preference and the specific requirements of the application. The installation of the disconnect switch should be performed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions and all applicable electrical codes. The switch should be securely mounted to a suitable surface, and all connections should be made with the proper tools and techniques. It is important to ensure that all connections are tight and secure to prevent overheating and arcing. The grounding of the disconnect switch is also critical. The switch should be properly grounded to provide a path for fault current to flow back to the source, which will trip the circuit breaker and de-energize the circuit. This helps to protect against electrical shock hazards. In summary, the proper location for an emergency disconnect switch for a gas-fired hot air furnace located in the attic of a single-family dwelling, accessible only by a scuttle opening in the ceiling in the laundry room, is adjacent to the scuttle opening. This placement ensures quick and easy access to the disconnect switch in case of an emergency, allowing for the immediate shut-off of power to the furnace. The disconnect switch should be properly labeled, rated for the voltage and current requirements of the furnace, and installed in accordance with all applicable electrical codes and standards. A qualified electrician should perform the installation to ensure that it is done safely and correctly. Regular inspections of the disconnect switch are also important to ensure that it is functioning properly and that there are no signs of damage or corrosion. Finally, remember that electrical safety is paramount. Always take precautions when working with electricity and consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns.